Hi everyone, let's take a look at an example on how we can find the measure of an angle using the inverse trigonometric functions. So this first question is asking us to find the measure of angle A. So angle A is what we're going to be focusing on, and so I want to label my triangle relative to that angle. So the side across from it is the opposite. The side across from the 90-degree is always the hypotenuse, and the last one is going to be the adjacent. Okay, so now my triangle is labeled correctly. I have to choose the trig ratio that I'm going to use to solve this question. So we remember our trig ratios with SOHCAHTOA. And in the question, I know A and I know H. So I want to use the trig ratio that has A and H, and that's going to be the cosine trig ratio. Okay, so now I can write my normal cosine of angle A is going to equal the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, so that's my ka. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And if we substitute our numbers in, the adjacent over the hypotenuse is going to be 17 over 22. Okay, now if I want to find angle A by itself, then I'm going to use the inverse cosine. So we show the inverse by raising it to this little -1 exponent, although it's not really an exponent. Okay, so we have cos, the inverse cos, and we're going to use that same ratio, 17 over 22. And then all we have to do is enter this into a scientific calculator. So let's jump over to our calculator. Okay, and I'm going to hit the function button, and I'm going to choose the inverse cos function. I'm going to hit the main button to bring up the number pad, and then I'm going to type in the ratio, 17 over 22. Sorry, not 20. Okay, and that gives us an answer of 39.4. And so our answer is 39.4 degrees. And if we just double check, it wants it to the nearest tenth of a degree, so we don't have to change that answer. Okay, let's take a look here at the other triangle, and they're asking us to solve for angle F. So I'm going to label my triangle correctly relative to angle F. So if I go across from angle F, I have my opposite side. Across from the 90-degree angle, I have the hypotenuse, and this is the adjacent. What do I know? Well, from my trig ratios, I'm going to write it out again. So, SOHCAHTOA. What did they give me in the question? Well, they gave me O, and they gave me H. So which trig ratio should I use? I want to use the one that has O and H, and that's going to be the sine. So our ratio is sine of F is equal to the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. And that is equal to 18.7 divided by 40.5. Okay, now to find just the angle F by itself, we're going to use the inverse sine function. Okay, and we will input the ratio 18.7 over 40.5. So let's go to our scientific calculator. I'm going to hit the function button, hit the inverse sine function, hit the main button to bring back up the number pad, and then I'm going to type in 18.7 divided by 40.5, and that's going to give us 27.5 if we round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so this is going to equal 27.5 degrees. Okay, so that's how you use the inverse trig functions to solve for angles in right triangles.